Okay, today we're going to be talking about our notes number 11, which is the explicit rule. So we've talked about the recursive rule. Now we're going to be talking about the explicit rule. And there's an explicit rule for both our arithmetic and our geometric sequences. So the explicit rules define a sequence as a formula in terms of n. So with arithmetic, we have a sub n equals a sub 1. So if you guys can guess, our a sub 1 is our first term. And then plus our d value is our common difference. And then everything else will stay the same. So on this one, the first term would be 4, and then our common difference would be 3. So we have to keep that in mind. With our explicit rule, everything is combined in one equation. It doesn't explicitly say a sub 1 equals. So you have to kind of remember that. With geometric, our g sub 1 is our first term. And that's also down here on 5. And then our r value is our common ratio. So if you can just remember that no matter which rule, in a recursive, you have a sub 1 or g sub 1 listed first. Well, the same thing with our explicit rule. The first term is going to be the first number that is listed. So keep that in mind. And these rules will be listed on the board for the quiz or for the test. You just have to know how to use them. So keep that in mind. Okay, the first one says match the given sequences to their corresponding rules. So the first one, we go from 6 to 12 to 24 to 48. So from 6 to 12, we're going up by 6, but then from 12 to 24, we're going up by 12. So we're not adding, we'd have to be multiplying, and we're multiplying by 2. So since we're multiplying, it's geometric. So it has to be B or C. They both have the first term as 6. This one has a ratio of 2. This one has a ratio of 1/2. So it's going to be C. Next one, we go from 6 to 5.5 to 5 to 4.5. So we're going down and we're subtracting 0.5 each time. So it has to be arithmetic. So it has to be A or it has to be D. Now we're subtracting 1/2. This one you're adding 1/6. This one you're subtracting 1/2. So this one would have to be D. Next one, we're going from 6 to 12 to 18 to 24. So we're adding 6 each time. So it's our other arithmetic one. And then our last one, we're going from 6 to 3 to 1.5 to 0.75. So we're multiplying by 1/2. So it has to be geometric, and that would be B. So hopefully you guys can still do these pretty easy, and you can start, remember, you can start wherever you want to on these. Example 2 says use the following explicit rule. So we're going to have to do some stuff with this explicit rule. The first thing says write the first 6 terms of the sequence. So we have to make sure we read our directions because this one's 6 terms. So we're going to write 6 lines. If you remember from the beginning, the first number listed is our first term. And then the second number is what we're doing each time. So we're subtracting 6. So we're going to get 11. Subtract 6 again, we're going to get 5. Subtract 6 again, we're going to get -1. Subtract 6, we're going to get -7. And -13. And those are our first 6 terms of our sequence. So we just have to be able to identify where in the equation we have our first term and our common difference or our common ratio. The next one says, given the explicit rule, find the value in for the value 47. So this is as hard as it gets with the explicit rule. So if it says find the value 47, we're going to take 47 and we have to plug it in for a sub n and we have to solve. So this one's going to be a little bit trickier. So we're going to have 47 equals 12 plus 5 times n minus 1. So we have to find what does n equal. So our first step is we have to distribute. So this goes back to solving equations. So we get 5n minus 5. You can then take it a different couple ways. You can combine your like terms or you can move them. So I'm going to combine them. So we get 47 equals 12 minus 5 is 7 plus 5n. I'm going to subtract my 7 over to this side, and I get 40 equals 5n. And then I'm going to rewrite this over here. And then my last step is to divide by 5. So I get n equals 8. So this means, what this n value means is 47 is my 8th term for this sequence. So the n is telling me what number for this sequence it is. Okay, I think we have another example of that one on the back page, but that is going to be as tricky as it gets. Besides, I mean, writing, you guys are doing really well with writing the terms, and then writing the explicit rule shouldn't be too bad as long as we can figure out where stuff goes. Okay, next one. It says use the following explicit rule to write the first 4 terms of the sequence. So first 5 terms. Draw 5 lines. Okay, this is a geometric rule, so I know I'm going to be multiplying. So my first term is 2, because remember our first number is the first term. And then this 3 is what I'm multiplying by each time. So multiplying by 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 times 3 is, I'm going to have to get my calculator out for this one, is 54. And then if you multiply by 3 again, you're going to get 162. So those are my first 5 terms for the sequence. So you just have to make sure you can identify the first term and what you're multiplying by each time. Okay. The next one, it says, given the explicit rule, find the 4th term. So we have to find the 4th term. So let's draw our 4 lines. Our first term is 36. And we're multiplying by 1/2 each time. So half of 36 is 18, half of 18 is 9, and half of 9 is 4.5. So our 4th term is 4.5. Okay, going on to example 6, it says, given the explicit rule, find the n value for 44. So this is where we have to take our 44, plug it in for a sub n. So we're going to get 44 equals 9 plus 7 times n minus 1. So our next step is to distribute. We get 44 equals 9 plus 7n minus 7. And then from here, you can combine like terms or start moving stuff. I'm going to combine my 9 and my 7. That is going to give me 2 plus 7n. Subtract my 2. I'm going to get 42 equals 7n. Divide by 7. I'm going to get n equals 6. And that is my answer. Let me know if you guys have any questions on that. Moving down to the bottom, it says match the given sequence to their corresponding rules. So this is like what we were doing on the first page. So the first one, go from 12 to 15 to 18 to 21. I'm adding 3 each time. So since you're adding, it's arithmetic, so it has to be the first A or B. So my first term is 12, that's correct. And then this one is subtracting 1/2, and this one is adding 3. So this one has to be B. Next one, I go from 12 to 6 to 3 to 1/2. You're multiplying by 1/2 because you're going down, but not by the same amount. So that's the geometric. This geometric, they're multiplying by 1/2, and this one, they're multiplying by 3. So this one has to be C. Next one, I go from 12 to 36 to 108 to 324. This one, I'm multiplying by 3. So it has to be D. And the last one, you're subtracting 0.5 because you go from 12 to 11.5 to 11 to 10.5. There's the subtracting, so this one has to be A. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions on that. And you guys are good to start on your notes. Or not on your notes, on your homework.